here to challenge you to drink 50 cups of coffee. Now, not all at once in one sitting. I'm pretty sure your heart would explode. That's not what this is about. This actually has very little to do with coffee. It has more to do with connection. It has to do with what, please? Thank you. Thank you guys for that. It has to do with connection and connection through conversation with another person. I'm challenging you to have 50 cups of coffee over the course of the next 365 days. Why over the course of a year? Why 50? We'll get into the coffee in a minute. But why 50? Because there are 52 weeks in a year. I'm giving you 2 weeks off. And I think you should be meeting with someone new inside and outside of your social network at least once per week for an hour or so for an entire year. And just imagine how that reality, that idea would change your life, would impact your life moving forward by connecting with all these people. Now, I know there are some of you in this audience right now who are thinking, oh, wow, groundbreaking concept, right? And I get that. I totally get that. This is not an entirely original idea. It's not an entirely groundbreaking concept. People have blogged about this. People have given talks about this. People have written books about this. So if this is not so groundbreaking, if you've heard of this before, then my question for you is, why haven't you done it already? If it's not so groundbreaking, why haven't you done it yet? The work I do is in leadership development, and the company I work for, we do full immersion leadership workshops. And these full immersion workshops, they are based in the concept of experiential learning. Has anyone ever heard of experiential education, experiential learning? A couple of you? So in experiential learning, there is a triad of learning. And in the triad of learning, it basically looks at the way we learn and we experience the world. And we learn and we experience the world in 3 different ways. The first way we learn and experience the world is intellectually. That's what we're doing right now. It's a powerful way to learn. Most of our learning takes place intellectually in a classroom, in a lecture style setting. TED is such an impactful organization across the world because of the power of intellectual learning. But here's my challenge for you. If I were to give a test right now or to pass out sheets of paper and say intellectually on this sheet of paper, I want you to explain what the 50 cups of coffee challenge is and why it's important. Do you think you could pass that test based on what we've already talked about, what you probably already knew coming into this? Would you be able to pass that test? I am confident to think everybody in this room could pass that test intellectually. What is the 50 cups of coffee challenge? Why is it important to me? Why do I even care about it? So you understand it intellectually. That doesn't answer the question of why you would or you would not do it. The second way that we learn and we experience the world is physically. You learn and you experience the world physically. Again, with the challenge. Physically, all of us are capable of completing this challenge. By the mere fact that you are in this room, you have proven to all of us that you have the ability to be in the same space as another human being, right? If you're watching this live stream or you're watching the video later on, you have the ability to interact with another human being, learn from them via a webcast or some sort of video chat in some sort of way. So physically, you have the ability to pull this off. So intellectually, you understand it, and physically, you have the ability to pull it off. So again, why would you do it or not do it? The third way that we learn and we experience the world is what gets at this. The third way is emotionally. We learn and we experience the world through emotions. And my challenge to you, my assumption, is the only reason you will or you will not take on this 50 cups of coffee challenge is purely emotional. It's purely emotional. There's 2 reasons we do or do not do things in life. Number 1, we are either seeking some sort of joy or pleasure. Number 2, we are avoiding some sort of pain or rejection. And as I explain this challenge, there's 2 faces that I'm seeing in the audience. One face is getting excited, you're nodding your head, you're smiling, you're like, yes, let's do it. You're thinking of people already that you can reach out to, that you can email, that you can text, that you can call to do this. You are seeking that joy, that growth that comes from this challenge. The other face is like, no way, right? Like I didn't even like this when I read about it in the program. I dislike it even more now. I don't want, like what if I call, email this person and they don't remember me or they don't want to get together? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not bad. You're that second type of person who's avoiding the pain of what might come from this. So you're either seeking that pleasure or you're avoiding that pain. Something to keep in mind. About 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago at this point, I moved back to my college town. My fiance, which is a fancy word, but I've earned it. She's no longer my girlfriend. She's my fiance. She got a job at our school, our college, where we graduated from. So we moved back to our college town. And I was excited to move back to our college town because there's a lot of entrepreneur energy and activity happening. And as an entrepreneur, I wanted to be a part of that. And so I knew in order to become a part of that, I had to reach out to a gentleman who was a business professor at the college. And he wasn't my professor. He was a friend of mine's professor. So I had met him, I knew him, but I hadn't talked to him, reached out to him, made any sort of effort in 2 to 3 years. And so I think, I got to email this professor to get connected to this movement. And I'm all confident to do it. And I sit down at the computer, I'm ready to email. And how many of you have ever had this happen before? You're ready to reach out to somebody and it's like, I haven't talked to him in 3 years. What if he doesn't remember me? What if he doesn't want to get together? He's a busy guy. I mean, his schedule is already packed. What am I going to do? Say, can I add an extra hour to your day for something you don't get paid for? Like, I'm not a student of his. I can't go to his office hours. He lives an hour away from campus. I'm not going to ask him to stay late. And so how many of us have been in this situation before? We're thinking of this person we need to connect to, we need to reach out to, but we don't want to add something else to their day. And so my thought was, how can I meet him somewhere where he's already got some time to fill? It's a moment in his life where maybe he's waiting for something, or it's a situation that he already does that I can join him in. So I thought, well, I could buy him lunch, but I'm broke and I don't want to buy him lunch. So my second thought was, I can buy him a cup of coffee, right? If he really likes fancy coffee, it might cost me $2.50. So this I can do. And so I email him and I say, I know we haven't talked in a while. I'm friends with so-and-so, and I really want to get involved with the entrepreneurship movement, so I'm serving him in some way, and I would love to buy you a cup of coffee. He emails back immediately and says, we could meet any day this week, Monday through Friday. There's a cafe in the lobby of the building I work in. Meet me there at 7 a.m., and we'll get coffee, because it's something he already does. So I met him there Monday morning, 7 a.m. We ended up having coffee for an hour, because we had a great conversation. That led me to not only being involved in this entrepreneur community that Eric talked about, but being the coordinator of the nonprofit. And once I became the coordinator of that nonprofit, I had the challenge of getting other people involved, getting other players, movers and shakers in the community involved in what we were doing. And there was one gentleman who, if you consider the low-hanging fruit on the tree, he was towards the top of the tree. He was one of those like, why would I ever reach out to him? What could I ever, do to just call and say, hey, I'd like to get you involved in this thing. I'd like to give you some more work. He's a retired entrepreneur, very successful in his own right. And we wanted him to be involved. He had done some angel investing before. And so I thought, well, let me try this coffee thing. It worked once. And so I emailed him and said, can I buy you a cup of coffee? And he said, sure, great. Let's meet at this cafe. I usually go there every day at 11. Again, plugging into something he already does. Well, we get to the coffee shop and he actually orders tea, which I kid you not, for a second, I was like, oh no, like you're breaking the rules, right? But again, I was so wrapped up in this new thing that I had thought of, but it's not about coffee, right? It's about connection. It's about the conversation that we have. And once I started to think broader than this has nothing to do with coffee, it's about plugging into people's lives where they are, I started to think, who else can I reach out to with this concept? And the last story I'll share with you is there was a gentleman who is a New York Times best-selling author, who is a very big deal in the world of self-help and leadership development, and I really wanted to connect with him. I read his book and I loved it, and I wanted to connect. And so I thought, he has moments in his day, just like all of us, where again, he's not doing anything. He's waiting for someone or something. And so I emailed him and I said, I read your book, love your content, have a really good one quick question for you. Do you have time over the next couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, where you're waiting in an airport for a plane, or you're waiting to be seated at a restaurant, or maybe you're in a cab ride from the hotel to the airport? And I can call you at that time and talk to you. He emailed back right away and said, tomorrow morning I have a 20-minute cab ride from my hotel to the airport, give me a call. I got on the phone with him, had an incredible conversation, and at the end of it, he said, by the way, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out or call. And I've texted him a few times since. And I don't share any of these stories to try to impress anybody. I share them to impress upon you exactly what this really is about. This is about plugging into those moments of time that they already have. I also want to impress upon you, there's two situations that could occur here. Again, I see the growth, I see the change, I see the excitement that could occur from doing this, but there's also some sort of pain or rejection that could occur. If they said, I don't remember you, I don't want to talk to you, or even worse, what if we actually do get together and it's an awkward conversation that doesn't lead anywhere? And I'm here to tell you something really exciting. Most of my conversations are, right? Most of the conversations I have in this way don't lead to anything. But it's that small 10%, that small 1% that lead to something, that make the difference, that make the change, that makes this entire challenge worth it. Now, some of you thinking like, okay, great. Like you've shared a couple of cool stories and you've shared exactly why I don't want to do it or why I do want to do it. But like, what if I don't want to do it? If I'm that person avoiding pain, what's the secret sauce, right? Like what are your tools? What are your strategies for pushing past this, right? Some of us want that secret sauce. I'm ready to give it to you. Are you ready for the secret sauce? Yeah. That was good. That was excitement, right? Here's the secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. It's the truth. There is no secret sauce. There is no crazy strategy or tool for how to do this other than making the first phone call, sending that first email, sending that first Facebook message, pushing past whatever that thing might be that's holding you back from doing it and recognizing that you're going to be okay. If someone emails you back and says, I don't have time to get together, or they don't email back at all, sometimes that's more painful, right? How many of us are like, oh yeah, I emailed a mentor one time and they never got back to me, and now I'm never doing that again. And you never thought, maybe it just got lost in their mailbox, or maybe they didn't have time to get to it. It wasn't a personal slight against you. And so I don't have special sauce, I don't have a secret strategy for you, but I do have a first step. And the first step in this entire thing is to identify who exactly you're going to reach out to. That's the first easy step. Who exactly you're going to reach out. It doesn't have to be all 50, but I encourage you to think about who are these people, who is your social network, and how can you expand it. So your social network, the first step is understanding that your social network starts with you. It starts with who? Boom, not me, you. Starts with you. Your social network starts with you. And by the way, this is not a TED Talk on drawing, so give me a break here. Your social network starts with you. And the way I like to think of your social network with this challenge is in 3 tiers. And this is not by level of importance. This is just a hierarchy way to think about it. If you think about it, the social network below you, again, not by importance, just a way to think about it, is what I would call your mentees. These are people that you can be a mentor to. These are people, if you are a college student, I know there's a lot of college students in the audience with us. If you're a college student, you're a junior or a senior. These are those freshmen, those sophomores that are joining your clubs, joining your organizations, your sororities, your sports teams, and you know what it was like to be in their shoes, coming in with no knowledge and some sort of fear and anxiety of, do I even want to be here? Or what is this class about that we're taking? Or all these sorts of things that run through your mind. How can you break that barrier for them and you reach out? And you're not reaching out in an arrogant way by saying, I would like to mentor you, right? You're not doing that. You're saying, can we get together? Can we you want to grab a cup of coffee after the meeting? Do you want to grab a smoothie? Do you want to get lunch at some point? It doesn't have to be something grand. It's just connecting with someone on a human level. If you're a professional in the room, these are the people, if you're 5 years, 10 years into your firm or the company you work for, in today's day and age, you're a seasoned employee, right? And so it's reaching out to that young professional. Maybe they're fresh out of college. Maybe they're older than you, but they're new at the company. How can you reach out to them and say, do you want to grab lunch? Do you want to talk on your commute in? I want to get to know you. That's it. you're not trying to bestow any knowledge upon them. You're just trying to get to know them. And those can be some of the most important people who introduce you to others. They say, oh my God, you really got to meet so-and-so. They're an incredible human being. So if these are your mentees, above you are your mentors. And again, these are probably the people you thought of when you read about this challenge or you heard about this challenge. And these arguably are I said, it's no level of importance, but this is where you should spend most of your time. Because this is when you're climbing that ladder of success and you hit a plateau. These are the people that help you reach that next plateau. These are those people that help you get to that next level of whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be all professional. Maybe this is personal. Maybe you have some relationship things in your family or your significant other, and reaching out to someone who's older than you, who has that experience. And again, it's a non-threatening way to meet them where they are, to say, I'd love to sit down. I'm not picking your brain. That's usually what prevents us from reaching out to a mentor. What do I have to offer you? You can buy them a cup of coffee. You can buy them a meal. You can call them when they're on their cab ride. You're not using them. You're not giving them an extra thing in their day. You're meeting them in the middle. You're finding a way to learn from them in that moment. If you're a student, how many of you actually meet with your professors outside of class time? Whether it's office hours or it's getting a cup of coffee in the morning, finding a way to interact with them, get to know them as a human. So you have your mentors, your mentees, and the level that's right next to you, what most of us call our peer group. I call great drawings. If this is your mentors, these are your mentees, these are your meant to hang with. These are people you're meant to hang out with, and that's fantastic. And I'm not saying you should devalue this group or stop hanging out with this group, but I am saying that you probably hang out with this group most of the hours out of the 24 that you get in a day. Out of those 24 hours, this is the group you hang out with most. This is the group you already get coffee with, you already eat lunch with, you already eat dinner with, you see on a daily basis. But I'm not saying they shouldn't be a part of this challenge, because how many of them do you know their dreams, their hopes, how you can help them stretch, how you can help them push? How many of them do you know about their family lives, the challenges that they might be having, or the struggle that they're currently going through, and what do they know about you? And so I think this is an important group to keep in mind for this challenge as well, because this is a group that you could serve to get to know better. And again, this is a non-threatening way to do this. You're not looking at your friend and saying, let's sit down and have a deep conversation for an hour, right? You're looking at your friend and saying, let's just get together, you and I. If you're a professional, how many of you could do this with your colleagues? To say, you know what, the only time we communicate is over a project that's been thrown on our desk that we end up fighting over, not because we don't like each other, but because of the high stress environment of it. What if you actually got together over lunch? What if you actually, and forget lunch, get out of the office. Go to a cafe in the morning an hour earlier in your day to grab a cup of coffee, to get to know them. Don't even talk about work. You're talking about family. Because when I talk about this network, I call it your social network. It's not your professional network, it's your social network. This could be personally or professionally. This is a challenge that's about connection. It's not about, if you have 50 cups of coffee, you can do success too. Like, that's not what this is about. This is something to say, how could interacting with people on a human level really change or impact your life? And again, some of you, as I explain this, might be thinking of some people that you can reach out to right now. And there's two feelings in the room. One feeling of, this is awesome, this is great, I can't wait to have this moment, this thing that's gonna come out of it. And the other thought is, I don't know, this could be awkward, they could say no, this could cause me some sort of pain or rejection or feeling of belittlement. And my challenge to you is to think of it this way. I think for those of you who saw the movie Transformers, I'm going to quote Megatron right now, just bear with me. Megatron said, is it fear or courage that compels you? I don't know if he actually wrote that or who did, but I think that's a powerful phrase. Is it fear or courage that compels you? What is it that gets you to make your decision? Because I like to think of things as worst case scenario and best case scenario. Worst case scenario, and I've had this, you reach out to somebody and they actually say yes, and you sit down with them and it's a terrible, horrible, awkward conversation that you can't wait to get out of over a lousy cup of coffee. But the best case scenario, and I've had this, is you have a phenomenal conversation, that conversation that you remember for the rest of your life, that you talk about, that you say, that was the moment I made the change, I made the shift, I met the people I needed to meet over a really good cup of coffee. And isn't that possibility at least worth the risk? Thank you guys so much. Thank you.